everybody, and happy weekend. I hope that the week has been good to you. And listen, we got plenty to talk about today. So come get comfortable and kick off the weekend with me, will you? And while you're here, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you always get notified when I'm live here on Her Dad's YouTube and you never miss a chat. Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about last night's Real Housewives of Orange County and the fact that we're seeing a little bit of a repetitive storyline here. I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Also going to hit on the reunion looks from Real Housewives of Miami. Their finale is next week, so that means reunion looks were dropped this week. We'll talk about those and who I think is the best dressed. Also, we're going to hit on a little bit of, I don't even want to call it news, discussions, some movement coming out of the Real Housewives of New Jersey, okay? And then also, we're going to talk about something that Andy said during a recent Watch What Happens Live taping, during a commercial break of the taping, and who he never wants to see again. All right, so come hang out with me. Tell me how your week was. Tell me which Housewives episode you liked the most this week, which ones you didn't like, and yeah, tell me what's on your mind. So we're gonna start with Real Housewives of Orange County. And look, I try to be very careful when I talk about Real Housewives of Orange County because everybody knows, obviously, my ass was bitter and mad and jealous and angry and confused for years. Still am a little bit, whenever they demoted Vicky. So if every time I say something that's anything less than positive about OC, people can be like, me. You're just still pissed. Duh, I am. I'll be the first to tell you that. But I can still have opinions on the show outside of it, right? And I am just kind of bored. Like I told y'all last week, I was like, it felt like the episode was just dragging on. And then this week, I'm like, I looked at the clock, it was like 8:21. So we're like 20 minutes in, a third of the way through the episode. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, we're still on two separate little cast trips, if you can call them trips. We're having pillow fights, and we're at the Abbey, even though it's empty. Like, there was more production crew there than there were actual, like, attendees of the bar, I'm pretty sure. It's just, I feel like we started off on and maybe this is what, I and others get for complaining on was it so negative and stuff in the beginning. But my gosh, I felt like we were on like a steady climb as far as like drama and intensity and maybe, the storyline taking some turns here and there as far as who we were believing, etc. But the last 2 weeks have officially been a lull for me. Like let's pick it up. I was having a conversation with a friend too. We're used to these Housewives seasons being 17, 18 episodes a season plus like reunion, and I'm kind of starting to like err on the side of, I'm like, can we start doing shorter seasons? Like give us a 12 episode season and 2 or 3 reunions, boom, boom, boom. I mean, I guess it's technically less money for the network because it's less episodes, less ads dollars, but they're also spending less. I mean, that's cutting cast salaries like almost in half. Don't tell the ladies I suggested this. They would hate me. But I don't know. You can't have 2 weeks in a row of nothingness. And I'm saying that to also say, like, there were things that happened in OC, but it was just kind of like, it was illuminating in all the wrong ways. Like, for example, we're talking about, Gretchen, Emily, and Heather had a little like girls sleepover in LA at Heather's house. And, they got a little drinky. And that's when Gretchen threw out a bomb about like all the time that Tamra tried to record a song and ended up like having sex with the person in the recording studio. And they forgot that it was recording. So there was audio of it and then Slade had it. And okay. So some might say, okay, that's drama, Christian. What are you complaining about? I'm not necessarily complaining as much as I am confused, because does that not, and then you got to think the next day or whatever, or that night when they're like calling Slade and trying to, because Emily and Heather are like, I want to hear the singing. I want to hear the song. Not necessarily wanting to hear the audio of what was going on back there. You know what I'm saying? But then Gretchen sort of said, no, we don't have it. Like, we just heard it. Like, we just know it's out there. Like, we don't have it. And they were like, that's not at all what you said before. And in Gretchen's defense, she's like, why are things leaving like a girl's night? Like, why are things that were said when I was being drunk and silly and whatever, like, why are those things going and being shared when y'all know exactly what's going to come of it? And that like I was just saying it in like, the heat of the moment. However, that might work in everyday life, but when you have cameras around and you've already like denied, saying something to someone, and and that person, Katie, has gone out and said how this situation went down, which is that at dinner, Gretchen said something, Slade tried to, backtrack it later, and then now that they're completely denying it. Does that not sound a little repetitive, even with the whole Tamra song of it all? And for me, maybe it's because the alcohol was flowing. I was like, how did they not clock that? And maybe they will next week. But to me, they are now experiencing in real time what they felt, or what Katie had explained happened to her, what she felt happened to her with Gretchen and Slade, and that they'd shared a story with her, and that once it became public, maybe that Katie was aware of this, they said that story's not even true. We've never even said it. And so it's kind of like similar to Gretchen saying, oh yeah, like Tamra was trying to record a song and Slade has the audio because someone sent it to him, and he didn't have it, like someone just sent it to him and they were having sex and da. And then the next day it's like, no, we just heard it. Okay, well, that's not at all even remotely matching the energy of what you said last night. So to me, I don't know how they didn't clock that, but it does look like things not finally, because it looks like it's going to be pretty intense, but things do pick up next week. It looks like, we've seen clips of the argument where Tamra's screaming at Gretchen and she's like, you, and, who knows where that's going to be, what that's going to be rooted in. I'm assuming Tamra finds out that Gretchen had said this about, and that's the other thing. Not only did Gretchen say, yeah, there was the audio, she went on further to say, yes, she was married, like she was cheating, and it's like, girl, we are in the game of mess. We're all here together. But one of the messiest things you can do in a non-good way is to not own up to what you're literally on camera saying. It's like that clip of Nene looking at Kim Zolciak. She said, you going to deny saying that? Your ass was on camera saying it. Like, and I don't know. It's just not, unfortunately for Gretchen, I feel like those two scenarios mirror each other a little too much. And it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out at the reunion. Because guess what? We've been watching these episodes for about 18 years, but still no reunion taping. Apparently it's still not happening until October, I think is what I heard. But who knows? And God bless the people that are on set that day, because I feel like it's going to be absolutely lethal there. I really do. Especially because everyone knows, like, not only has it been kind of intense with the lies and just the intensity of the rumors and not knowing who to believe, but also everyone knows that season 20 is on the horizon, and reunion is where you come to snatch that orange. If you already had, you want to come and impress the execs, impress producers, and have them invite you back. So it is going to be a bloodbath for real. All right. Speaking of reunion, Real Housewives of Miami reunion looks dropped. And I will say, at first when I saw them, I was like, ooh, yes, because there was just so much like there's a lot of like bright colors in the dresses. Like it felt very like neonish, vibrant, which is a lot of the theme that Miami tends to follow, with their bright pink cast photo and stuff like that. And now, don't get me wrong, there are some good looks. But when I took a closer look individually, I was like, collectively, these ain't what I thought they were, And we're just going to start out with the weakest link, okay? She might also be the wealthiest link, but she was the weakest link when it came to fashions at the reunion, and that's Stephanie. Because it's giving, what's that little girl's name from the Flintstones? Pebbles? It's giving Pebbles. I don't know why, but it is. It's giving like Ace Ventura. Not Ace Ventura, The Mask, Drew Carey. Like something about it ain't working for me. We should have used that jet instead of holding it over people's heads, and hold it over a city where there's lots of fashions to choose from, and choose another outfit. That's what we should have done, okay? So, moving on. Larsa, honey. The outfit is cute if you're going to Ruby Tuesdays. You know, like I see the intent, I see the goal, but it looks like a Shein dress. And all I need to know is that if Larsa was rocking her Shein partnership or a Shein partnership, Fashion Nova partnership on a reunion stage, there has absolutely never been a larger recession indicator. So buckle up. It's getting bad out there, you know. Lisa, I love Lisa's. It was nothing like over the top, nothing crazy. Lisa knows how to find an outfit, like a dress that fits her perfectly. Like I remember when I saw her at the Housewives of Miami premiere, her dress was fitted to a T, and she looked the best of anybody there, cast, not cast. Like she looked incredible. And same thing is happening here with the reunion dress. It's blue with a little bit of like some detail on the side with a high slit. I really, really like this look on her. I think she looks good. I feel like it's been a pretty good season for Lisa. Moving on to Gertie. Gertie is maybe second best dress for me. I'm loving the dress. No one else is wearing anything like it. She's showing a lot of like body, showing a lot of skin. She looks hot. It's bright neon green. Listen, there are two green looks on the stage, and the last one was Pebbles. So Gertie's winning in the green category for sure. And maybe next time, Pebbles. I don't know what to say. Now, next is my best dress, and that's my girl, Alexia. Look, sometimes I feel like when, we think of reunions, sometimes, and it's different. Every city's different. But, sometimes when we think of reunions, we think like over the top and like, ooh, bam. But sometimes a little like less is more. Subtle. And like Alexia is wearing just a simple, very fitted, it almost looks like pleather-ish. I don't know. But it's yellow gown, and it is so it's like fitted perfectly. She's got the titas like up, like she's got a bright red lip on. It's just, there's nothing crazy about it. There's nothing extra about it. She's not trying to grab your attention, like daddy watch me twirl like Brittany, like we were talking about earlier this week. It's just stunning. Beautiful. Alexia, hands down best dress for me. Moving on to her bro, Marisol. I like Marisol's. It's a little mother of the bride, but for a rich bride's parents, like they paid really good money for the dinner. Like everybody's going home with a bottle of liquor. That's how much open bar stuff they bought. Like it's mother of the bride, but it's money of the mother of the bride. You know what I'm saying? So we'll take it. I'm not even talking crap. That's just the first thing that came to mind. Now, let's talk about Kiki. It's like kind of, what was that thing that Shannon said? Miss Roper, and Shannon and Kelly were arguing about Miss Roper. It's giving that in the sense that it's flowy and has fur on it, but I also kind of like it in the sense that no one could pull this off except for her. You know what I'm saying? Like imagine if, let's see, even on this cast, if Julia walked in wearing that, I would have been like, we should have left the robe at home. Why didn't Martina keep the robe at home? But with Kiki, perfection, So I guess that's, a perk of being perfect like her. So you can wear whatever you want. Let's see, Adriana. I actually really liked hers too. It's very kind of sequiny, burgundy, purplish with a lot of like floral detail up here. And I don't know. There were rumors that she was one of the ones involved in this like big bomb that's dropped at the reunion. I don't know if it's about her or she's the one that dropped it, but I feel like she's been kind of quiet recently. So I'm wondering if it's her. But if it is, baby, at least you look good whenever whatever went down. And then let's move on to Farm. Julia, she's there. I'm not really a fan of anything wrapping around the neck as far as the dress goes. Like it just like I feel like I'm hot, like just looking at it. Like I'm like, all right, loosen it up, But now the rest, I'm not mad at. She has been. I'm not really into this the hair exploration she's been doing recently. But listen, baby, you don't know what you like until you try it. So she's trying and she's finding things out, I guess. Oh, Lord. All right, what else are we going to talk about? Let's talk about Real Housewives of New Jersey and the fact that we've talked about this before, and I even talked to Gia about it when Gia was on mine and Vicky's podcast. And the fact that every single time that they step outside or go on a red carpet or see a camera within the same state or breathe or wipe their, they are asked about, what do you think about next season? Have you heard anything? Would you film with Melissa and Joe? And right to same to Melissa and Joe. They can't breathe or do anything either without being asked about Teresa, without being asked about Jersey. It's like, why ask questions we know the answer to? Let's stop there, first of all. And number two, Teresa, said something the other day when asked about it, like, never say never. And it's like, why is everybody jumping on that when quite literally, there are no other options of things left to say when it comes to answering that question? They've said it all. And so she said that, and now, like, page 6 and page 6's besties, the Gorgas, they are like, oh, well, Teresa's saying never say never on a reconciliation. Like, what do you think about it? And of course, Melissa has never had a better day of her life than knowing she can spin this and make it look like Teresa's actually like, yeah, I'll go film with them. It's like, y'all both will do whatever you have to do. And we all know good and damn well that that's not what, like, calm down. You're making something out of nothing. And for her to be like, the door is always closed. Like, do you feel better? Did you get your moment? Did you hear the claps in the audience? Louder, everybody. Make sure she hears it so she doesn't do it again. Like, calm down. For real. It's just everything that I hear about Jersey in the last 9 months is against my will. And it's also the same damn thing over and over and over and over again. Am I going to talk about it again next week? Never say never. You never know. Oh, my God. Well, one thing we are saying never to is Jen Shah and Andy Cohen being in the same room ever again. Because at Watch What Happens Live, it seems sometimes maybe like during commercial breaks or before the show, after the show, Andy chats with, the people in the audience. And sometimes they'll post those videos, of what people ask. And someone asked him about Jen Shah, and he literally said that he never wants to see Jen Shah again. I'm like, okay, that's a lot. I didn't know that your great-grandparents were victims of hers, because with that energy, that's what I'm assuming, And I'm not saying that I think she should come back. I just am surprised that he took that stance that way. You know what I mean? And all I know, well, then Jen Shah did respond. And I have a question, because when this started circulating last night, Watch What Happens Live is a late show. I thought jails had curfews. Jen Shah should have been in bed before that was even said. However, before I could barely even respond or react to it, Jen Shah had already released a message from cell 42C in Bryan, Texas, saying a respectful conversation has already been had with Bravo. No hard feelings are had. And I'm like, I want to know, what are the curfew hours at FCI Bryan? Do they not have them? Because I thought like lights and TVs were out at like 9 o'clock. So who woke Jen Shah up from her slumber, told her Andy said it ain't happening, and then got an official on the record statement and released it on Instagram? All while all the other ladies in the cells around her are getting some shut-eye. Either the rules are loose there, or Jen Shah's got friends high up there. I'm serious. Like, I'm being silly, but I'm also not, And I want to know, like, how does that make her feel? Is that annoying to her that he says that? Like, because if I were her and I'd already served, 3 years, and I got 1 more year left. I've been back there for 4 years, and all I want to do is get out and reclaim my life. And I found out that Andy said never again. I'm just staying in. I'm staying in. I don't want to see or talk to any of y'all. I don't want to talk about any of it. If that's how you're going to be, I'll just stay right here, where I can exercise and not have to stress over an outfit. And I'm in bed every night by 9 p.m. unless Andy Cohen wants to talk some crap, in which case I get woken up to respond. Oh my God. The world we live in with these ladies, y'all. The world we live in. All right, gonna go back and see what y'all had to say. Someone said bring Katie back. Yes, I want to say too, like, we talked about this before, the really, really hard pivot that they did without Katie. And it's like, there's no mention of Katie whatsoever. And I'm like, where was all this? It's just interesting that there's so many things that are kind of coming out now, but none of this was talked about or discussed prior because everything was focused on Katie. So I don't know. I'm really curious to see how they weave Katie back into the story for the reunion and stuff. We'll see, but it's very, very noticeable. Yeah, for sure. Steven said, hi, Steven. Gretchen, what are you doing? I know, Gretchen, I just feel like she's playing her cards wrong, you know? Karen Huger could have killed someone and she is back. Yep. But, you know, I don't even know what to say to that one. You know, I'm glad I ain't the one making decisions at Bravo because no, thank you. No, thank you. All right, everybody. Well, I need to let you know, next week's going to be a little bit different. I am traveling to LA tomorrow. So Monday and Wednesday, there probably won't be any lives unless something really works out and I have some time. So I will see you back here on Friday and we will be live then. And yeah, so be sure to follow along on Herdouts Instagram, my Instagram. We're going to be doing some really fun stuff next week. Vicky and I will be on Jeff Lewis Live Monday morning. So be sure to tune in and check that out. And as soon as I can, I will be back here. And God knows, like, we can't go 2 days without talking to y'all. And we have so much to catch up on. So we're going to need at least like a 5-hour session when we get back. Okay. All right. Love y'all so much. It means the world that you join me here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, make sure you hit that subscribe button here on Herdouts Instagram or Herdouts YouTube so you always get notified when I'm live. Okay.